I just would like to say that my association with Mr. Balan goes way back to 1985. When I came back after my studies in Europe, Mr. Balan came that time to Suvidya College where I was appointed, and they wanted him to design a garden in Suvidya. We had a conversation after that, and my first impression was that Mr. Balan was different. I always liked people who had some difference, who are different or who were different from others. I had the feeling that Mr. Balan also noticed that. Nothing happened with the garden, but Mr. Balan wrote me a letter after an year or so telling me that even if we are not giving him any work, he would still like to be connected with us or with me. Probably he noticed that I had a kind of wavelength with him. I would like to say, first of all, I admired his human qualities. Rarely did an artist exhibit so many of them like Mr. Balan. Secondly, I would say that he was a gifted person, a rare talent, a person exceptionally good at creating always something new, something different, something original, and I am tempted to say sometimes even something mysterious. For me, Mr. Balan was a blend of human qualities and a rare artistic talent. He had the desire to try out always something new, something different, something which no one else has done before. And that's why I would say that he was different, that he was original. I remember when he told me first time that he would like to do something in crinkled glass. The stained glass as it is in Europe were not available in India. But he wanted to do something similar like that in Suvidya College. He said that not the usual one which is done in Jaipur, where they press the picture of a person or Jesus on the crinkled glass, but he wanted to do very much similar to that of the stained glass in Europe. And he said, if you give me an opportunity, I will do that. And I'm very glad to say that I did that. I gave him that opportunity and he was very grateful to me. And I think our friendship started growing there. It was not a friendship because he did some work for me or I did something for him, but it was rather, as he often told me, there is a wavelength, Father. There is a wavelength between both of us. I remember that he often used to call me because he had a great desire for communication. Surely, an artist is someone who creates a work of art according to certain aesthetic criteria. And in this way, he was a painter, a sculptor, and a designer with the details of fine arts. With the easiness as he drew the picture, he would design a church, chisel out an altar, or an ambo or any other object in the church. He did not imitate anyone, but had creative and original ideas. His mental construct he would put down in paper. I had always the feeling that some of his creations were flowing out of the collective unconscious, and I discussed often with him about that. The collective unconscious about Carl Gustav Jung used to say in his psychological description about the unconscious mind. Collective unconscious is a storehouse of latent memory traces inherited from one's ancestral past. Balan would create something, he would draw up something, but then he would tell me he himself doesn't know what it is. then I would say to him that must be flowing out from your collective unconscious. Some figures, some forms, which he says he himself cannot explain. He says his pen was moving that way. And that was very interesting for me. And I always used to say that is something which perhaps nobody can explain what it is. But that was what it was. And I said that must be a mental construct that coming from the ancestral past. And I think I am right in that. I believe that for Mr. Balan, art was not just an activity for making some money. I believe for him art was a lifestyle and a profession. An artist is not just an artist when he is creating a piece of art. He is an artist in his talk, in his social interaction, in his pattern of life, in his mindset and philosophy. Art was a way of life for Mr. Balan. He was passionately an artist, I would say. He lived for art and art for the sake of art. For me, personally, he was not just an artist only. All the encounters that I had with Mr. Balan was not at the realm of art. I experienced him as a genuinely human person. And I could always experience a personal satisfaction in this person-to-person encounter with Mr. Balan. He had a desire, that's what I think, a great desire to meet human persons, to be in touch with persons with no hidden agenda. He was genuine, authentic, and he always loved to meet people like that. That means at times he just wanted to be a human person. Not the famous Balan who was sought after for what he was doing, and there were a lot of people coming to him to design for them a church, a chapel, or to create an artwork for them elsewhere in their house. That was not sufficient for him. He also desired genuine human encounter, real relationship or friendship like any other human beings. He really enjoyed that. That's what I would say. I had the feeling that he would draw power and strength from such encounter to go after or to pursue his artistic activities. In such an encounter, he often cherished with me, I could experience that he was an optimistic person, had open communication, genuinely interested in others, and whenever possible was willing to help others. Once, the retired Archbishop of Bangalore, Alphonsus Matthias, asked me, "You have got a lot of contact with Mr. Balan, is it not?" I said, "Yes." Then he asked me, "He's designing a lot of churches, he's designing a lot of chapels, he has got a lot of contact with priests and nuns, but why is he not professing to Jesus?" I had no answer to that because I never met Mr. Balan at this level and I never discussed any of that issues that were connected with that. But in my relationship with him, I found that he had an absolute relationship with the absolute. He was a different person. He was different from all the others. And as he was different, he was also different in his expression of his religiosity. Not like the ordinary people, I would say he transcended that. He transcended that, the conventional form, and I think that every time he made an artistic figure of Jesus or a mosaic picture, he would wholesomely put himself there. He would involve himself in that picture, and I think that was an expression of his deep faith in Jesus Christ. Besides, as I experienced Mr. Balan, he was a Christian through and through. In all his thinking, in the way he felt, in the way he expressed his belief, his philosophy, and in the way he lived. I think he lived from the ethics of Jesus. And that is what I feel is very important. He was a genuine human person, and he believed in the cause behind the causes, the prime mover, if you want to say so, the absolute, the great God who resides in the heart of every human being. And he was a man without any pretensions. That made him genuinely human. That made him genuinely likable for many people. Thank you.